Peace, everybody. Come on in. We thank you for coming to Changing Life on the Spectrum one more time. My name is Brother James.
And I'm Nicole.
And we have a special guest with us today, Miss Kammeran Giggers. And we're just going to have some fun and we're going to let her help us to understand what she does and what she does to help our community. So, with that, Nicole, go ahead and start things off.
All right. Thank you for joining us today, Kammeran. We really appreciate you joining us today.
Yes, absolutely. Glad to be here.
So, can you take a moment and tell us a little bit about yourself and your nonprofit?
Yes, so I am Kammeran Giggers. I am the Executive Director and founder of R.I.S.E, Arts Center of Baltimore. A little bit about me. I'm born and raised in Baltimore City, Northeast Baltimore, right down the street from Morgan State. I grew up doing theater and singing in church all of my life, and that propelled me to continue my education in college, where I received my Bachelors of Arts Degree in theater performance from North Carolina Central University. After that, I traveled to Savannah, Georgia, and I attended Savannah College of Art and Design and received my Master's of Fine Arts degree in performing arts. And then I minored in art administration. And then from there, I performed professionally across the South, across the Midwest. I did some shows out in Chicago and Milwaukee for a little bit. And then I moved back home to Baltimore in 2016 after my grandmother passed away to kind of just get myself back together on the straight and narrow. Dealing with my grandmother's passing was a lot for me. So when I moved back home, I wanted to help my parents out as much as I could. So I ended up getting a job at a school called the Harbour School. And I was the performing arts teacher and director. Fell in love with the job. If you're not familiar with the Harbour School, it's a school for kids with special needs. They start at age 5 and go all the way up to age 21. I saw what the arts did for kids on the spectrum, kids with ADHD, ADD, Down syndrome, and I would see them in their academic classes struggling to focus, having a one-to-one with them to help them scribe. But when they came to performing arts, it was a different person. Like I had one student who was nonverbal, who would get on a stage and perform a solo in front of over 100 people. Now, granted, they had a microphone and it was very low, but they did it. And when you see them in their other classes, that wasn't the case. They needed all of these different accommodations. And I just saw what the arts did and just wanted to continue that. And it wasn't until about 4 years later, my students would graduate, we would be at graduation, and parents would come and ask me, I know my child is capable of doing more that is out there for them for a child with special needs. How do I get them to be more involved or get a job within the arts? That isn't necessarily in a customer service role or a janitorial role. What can we do? And so then I began to do a lot of the research of like, what's the gap when it comes to finding jobs for people with special needs? I ended up getting a job at Creative Alliance. I was the education manager. And I saw within Baltimore City Public Schools, they were isolating the students who were with special needs.
Yeah.
They ended up doing life skills during after school programming. And then the neurotypical kids did all of these exciting performing arts, other arts activities. And I'm like, well, why are we doing that? And so out of that experience, along with my Harbour School experience, I started R.I.S E. And so R.I.S E stands for Reach for Your Dreams, Inspire Creativity, Stay Focused, and Evolve to Step into Your Purpose, which is what we desire for each of our youth.
I love
And
it.
doing that, we provide a multidisciplinary arts education for neurodivergent youth and young adults within Baltimore City. So that is my journey. That is how R.I.S E got started and where we are today in year 4 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
Right.
amazing. Yes.
Thank
Yeah, that was a
you.
lot.
Mhm.
It's been a journey.
Yes. So, with all of that, can you tell us a little bit more about the specific programs that RISE offers?
Yes. So we start at age 5 and we go all the way up to 24. And we like our participants to start within our musical theater experience program, which focuses on acting, singing, set and lighting design, as well as devising their own piece of work. So within this program, ages 5 to about 16, we focus on developing a script with them. So they work with a director, as well as a music director, a set designer, and a lighting designer. And so within the program, they're devising their own show, or if we partner with a specific school, then we actually pick a show for them. And so they write their own show, they write their own music, and then toward the end of the quarter or the year, we actually put that show up for families, community members. And so some students who aren't necessarily interested in the performing arts aspect, we then teach them how to design a set. What does the set look like? What does the lighting look like for this kind of scene or this mood? We talk a lot about colors. And a lot of our kids get into that, especially our kids who are very, very shy and they don't want to do a lot of talking. They're very much so into the background aspect of musical theater, which is really cool because then that also provides them with opportunities later to go within the Hippodrome or Maryland Live to do the different shows there. And we actually have had students from our program act as interns for these institutions so that, they're getting that experience and they're not necessarily limited to just other things that they're not interested in or customer service experience. So we have our musical theater experience program, and then we have our emerging artist program, which focuses on visual arts and fine arts. And the students explore those various facets. And then with that, we teach them how to start their own arts-based business. And if students aren't necessarily interested in starting their own arts-based business, we then help them find a career plan. They work with a transition coach, as well as take financial literacy classes to help them figure out, well, what do I want to do? How are we going to get there? We work with them, taking different steps, taking them on job interviews, job shadowing in these different art institutions to figure out what you want to do. We also take them on college tours in the Maryland, Baltimore area. We take them on college tours to kind of figure out, this is the experience you would have. Does this interest you? Talk to different art majors and things like that. And so our emerging artist program is really like a workforce development program, but we put an art focus on it because there aren't much art programs out there specifically for neurodivergent youth that focus on employment within the arts.
Right.
So that program is geared towards students ages 13 all the way up to 24. So we want to be that hub for families and youth who are transitioning out of high school and they're transitioning into the workforce. We want to be that extra support for them.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yes, definitely needed.
Mhm.
And as I was saying to you before, that's something that we have to do as parents, begin to really think about the future and giving them an infrastructure to work through and to work with. And that was something that Miss Nikki Stokes and I were talking about when we did her interview, that it was good. And I can't remember, was that when she said that she was actually working with Miss Cameron? Where she had the children were doing
Yes.
wait. It was something they was
It was a project.
yeah, it was
they
a
worked
project.
on.
Yeah,
They were
their
doing where they had to put
sensory.
Huh?
Sensory kids.
Sensory
Yes.
kits, right,
Yes.
right. But she
Uh-huh.
said, but Miss Nikki said that she actually paid them
Hmm.
for doing that. And I
Yep.
and I thanked her, and I thank you for looking out for our youth, young adults, and giving them a way to start truly preparing a way for themselves to take care of themselves.
Yes.
That's very
Yeah.
vital. And like you said, that is something that's a big piece that's missing
Right.
right now.
In a way that they are able to do things more creative other than um not that there's anything wrong with being a greeter, but other than being a greeter at Walmart or
Right.
Right.
at a fast food restaurant or something like that. So yeah, letting them and exposing them to the possibilities of being able to support themselves through their creativity is wonderful.
Yes.
So we
Thank
definitely thank you
you.
for that.
Yes.
That is
Absolutely.
definitely a thing that we're glad that you saw, and then you saw a way to adjust to it. We're
Yeah.
definitely thankful for that.
Yep.
Yes. No problem. Thank you. It's my pleasure. I love what I do.
That's
Love what I do.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned all of the what you majored in college.
Yep.
Um, and then you also gained some experience working at the Harbour School, working with neurodivergent youth. Did you also have any other any specialized training to prepare you for working with neurodivergent youth before you were pretty much like thrown into it?
Yes, yes. So, and I didn't even want to do this full transparency moment. So, when I went to the Harbour School, I went for a job interview. I did not know it was a school for kids with special needs. Uh,
Mhm.
but that didn't stop me, of course, because as soon as they told me the description, like more about the position, and I met the kids, I fell in love with it. And so while I was at Harbour, they said that they want all of their lead teachers to be certified within special education. And so they actually paid for me to attend Notre Dame of Maryland through their own cohort. The Harbour School had their own cohort of students where it was a 2-year program. The master's was in leadership and diverse education with a concentration in special education.
Yeah.
So that program, 2-year program, fully paid for by the Harbour School. And I think with that experience, so like the school, like sitting down, textbook schoolwork, and then the experience of hands-on every day at the Harbour School working with these students, I think that together like really equipped me with the knowledge and the expertise to work with the special education population.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, we know that you love what you do, and you were doing
Mhm.
some great things um, with our community and the neurodivergent youth community. But we know that it can take a village.
Yes.
You can't do this alone. So, what kind of help and resources were you able to find or source that help you to be able to do what you do so
Yeah.
well?
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
Mhm.
Such a great question because it took me a while to get the support that I needed. I think with my experience at Creative Alliance opened up a lot of opportunities where I was receiving support from Baltimore City Public School officials, principals, community school coordinators, with just like providing me with access to the special education departments within Baltimore City Public Schools. So now I have like this whole community of principals who are now supporting R.I.S.E in our endeavors, and community school coordinators who are now supporting us. Also, with that, just going to a lot of different events, a lot of different board meetings with the school, the Special Education and Advisory Committee. I'm now connected to them, which has been amazing. Miss, what is her name? Miss Phillips, Miss Sheila Phillips
Mhm.
has been a phenomenal resource where even this summer she's provided us with 2 behavioral assistants who we were able to pay, who supported our students. And that was just so helpful, and just like getting the word out there to families in those meetings was just super helpful, as well as the Autism Society of Baltimore, just talking. And like the community, I feel like in Baltimore is big but small, like it could feel small. And so it's all about talking to those different people within these small pockets of organizations to lead you to the next thing, have been super helpful. And so from out of the Special Education Advisory Committee and Ms. Sheila, I then met, what is her name from the Baltimore Society, Autism Society? I can't remember her name and I feel terrible.
Troy. I'm drawing a blank as well.
Yeah.
Troy, is that her name? Troy?
It may be.
I think it's
I'm drawing a blank.
Or Ty. I believe it's Ty.
It could be Ty. Yes, Ty. It is Ty. That's how I met you. I met you during a Autism Society meeting that Ty was. She was the
coordinator.
The host for that meeting. Thank you. I was having a moment. Yeah, she was the host for that meeting, and she was more than happy to pass along your information to me. And I was so impressed with everything that you were talking about that you're doing with the children. So, as I'm sure that the resources that you were able to find within Baltimore City, it was probably easy because it's a no-brainer. You know, you're doing something, they see the value in what you're doing for the youth. So, you know, partnering with you is definitely a no-brainer.
Thank you. That is so sweet. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been a journey. And I mean, I feel like we're making headway, but there's still so many people who are closed off. And it's like, I get it. I get it because, you know, they want to protect their children. They want to protect, you know, all of the kids at all costs, which I get. And it's just like, we're providing a resource. We're here. We want to help. We want to be a part of your community. So there's still a couple of doors that are slowly cracking open, but we're very, very grateful for the partnerships and connections that we have made so far.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that the children put on productions. So far, what has been your favorite production that you've helped the children put on, and why?
Yeah, so I am going to say The Lion King. We did The Lion King Jr. a couple of years ago. And I mean, I had kids at the time who would script it all the time without me even picking the show. And I'm just like, I think we should do, I told my assistant, I think we should do The Lion King because it's all we hear in the hallways is them singing it,
yes,
randomly singing the songs. Right.
Definitely know about that.
And so it was The Lion King. And I think my favorite part about The Lion King is that the kids who were not so confident in the previous production, and since they knew The Lion King verbatim, they like the confidence of these kids were just like a different person when they got on stage.
Yeah.
And like even some of their academic teachers that came to the show, or like mentors or other ABA support therapists and things like that came to the show, were just so shocked because they were like, who is that? Like, that's not the kid that we see on a daily basis. And so just seeing them like shine in like all of their glory. Specifically, I had a student, she's so funny. I had a student, she's now at Anne Arundel County Community College. I think she's working toward Bowie. Her major is theater. And when I tell you, she was so stubborn about not performing on stage at all. She used to do like the background for us, the music, the lighting for us. And then she heard we were doing The Lion King, and she was our Timon and Pumbaa. So she played Timon. And she knew her lines. She was the first person to know her lines.
Wow.
She was the funniest character on that stage. I mean, it was just phenomenal. Like at the
Oh,
end of the show, she got a standing ovation.
that's
And
wonderful.
after that show, she said, I have to do this again. So like she got that itch, that theater itch, you know.
Hmm.
You just see just the light bulbs light up in rehearsal, their eyes just like shine. It's just such a beautiful thing to see in a young person, especially a young person who may be often limited just
Hmm.
because they have now this label of a
Right,
disability on
right.
them. It's just so beautiful to see. So that was my favorite production.
That's good. And that's important to um, also mention that not only are they acting in the productions, they're also working behind the scenes on the sets too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
while we're on that subject, can you tell us some of the secrets and give us a moment because we all gonna need to grab some pens real quick. Go ahead, go grab your pen and paper. You're gonna need to write this down. How do you keep the children engaged to make it not only make it through their scenes, but make it through the whole show, especially when you're training at first just to get them
Mhm.
to learn the lines. I'm sure that every parent watching this would love to have a better understanding of how to do that because that's one of the problems that we have with one of our sons, Nasir, is it's not we know he's intelligent. That's not even a question. It's just how to keep him engaged because his thought span is somewhat limited. He's like on to the next.
On to the
So if
next.
you could give us some of your techniques of how you keep them moving forward, because I can't even imagine, especially something as big as Lion King, as many
Yeah.
different lines as in that's in Lion King. How do you do it? How do you keep them engaged?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I thought it would also be a challenge when I first started it,
Mm-hmm.
but once you have a show, a script that they're interested in and they know about, I think that helps. I think that helps a whole lot. And so, what I like to start with is a checklist. So, each rehearsal, each day that we rehearse, we have a checklist. And so, we go through that checklist with them. This is what we're doing. These are the characters. This is what you need to know. And then from there, helping them memorize their lines, I like to add pictures. And it depends on the student. Adding pictures next to the line or just talking, having a conversation with them about those lines or that specific scene, and then connecting it with their personal lives. So, how can you connect to this scene? Who's your favorite playmate at home? What video games do you like to play? How does that relate to something like this? So, getting them to connect personally with what the scene is about, who this character is. That used to be my favorite, connecting with who this character is. Does this character like to do this? And giving them the opportunity to create this character, right? So giving
Mm-hmm.
them the opportunity to make, how old is this character? How does this character walk? If someone did this to this character, how would it make them feel? If I did this to you, how would it make you feel? And then letting them build their own journey, their own scenario off of that based on this character helps a ton. Something else I like to do is have them record the lines, or I'll record my voice saying the lines in a specific way, and then having them listen to it, having them take that home to listen to it, to go over it with mom and dad. Something else I like to do, which is why I like musicals specifically, is adding music to those lines or coming up with a steady beat to help them remember. And it could be a beat of their choice, which helps. It could be music that they're already interested in, and we're taking that instrumental and then putting lines to that. That helps a whole lot. And then putting times to things. So we're going to work on this specifically for 20 minutes or 25 minutes, setting a timer. And then they know, okay, we have 5 more minutes left. They're looking at that timer. Okay, I have 5 more minutes to do this. Okay, if you do this for 20 minutes, then you could take a break. You could play your video game, or you could have some downtime to draw. Helps a whole lot. So that's been my process. That's how I like to break things down. And I said pictures, right? Pictures help a whole lot, depending on if the student has the ability to read. Those visuals help sum up what's being said. And then just repetition, going through it as much as possible over and over again. And of course, adding parents into that community of this is how we do it at school, practice with them, just like this at home is helpful.
Now, how do you keep them able to work with each other?
Mm-hmm.
I definitely know that can be challenging no matter what the child is going through. Just children in general, to keep them on the same page, but being able to work with each other. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, I establish ensemble and teamwork at the very beginning, and I do that through group games. So there's a theater game called Zip, Zap, Zop. They have to stay in that specific order, zip, zap, zop. And then what they have to do, we stand in a circle and they have to send that word to someone else across the circle. So that means they have to project their voice and they have to make eye contact with that person across the circle. If they're not so comfortable with making that eye contact, then they have to send that arm. If you have students who are nonverbal, then it may just be sounds that you send. So you have to work together in order to stay in the game with just zip, zap, or zop for sounds. And so I think with those games and getting them to laugh, getting them to make mistakes and encouraging one another, I think through that is where we build that teamwork. And then we have discussions about, well, what do you need in order to make this scene work? You can't be the only one on the stage saying all of the lines, right? You have other people that also make the scene what it's supposed to be. So what do we need to do to work together? How do we communicate effectively? And so then that also goes back to, well, in Zip, Zap, Zop, in order to make, the round continue to go and all of us being in the game, we have to make sure we make eye contact. We have to project our voices. So I think with playing games like that, really, really helps. And then having that conversation with them about their scene partners and their scene really, really just makes the work more impactful. And knowing that we're a team and we have a show to do and we're all a part of the show, we're all amazing. And it's cool to see because even with that and kids start to mess up or they may get frustrated on the stage, like toward like the middle of rehearsal or to the middle of the process, we see the kids on the sideline cheering them on. You got this. I'll help you. I'll help you with your lines. I'll go over this with you. So I think theater in general and games like that and building that sort of community from jump just really is just impactful and really builds community and teamwork.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I mean, as you were talking, it just warmed my heart. Like, it's like every community with neurodivergent youth needs this in their community. And so my hope, my vision for the future is that you're able to grow this and help it blossom, not just nationally, but even internationally. Like, it's just amazing.
Definitely.
Thank you. That's my prayer. That is my prayer. From your mouth to God's ears.
Yes. Yes. Let's put it out there in the universe.
We're definitely putting it out there because it's definitely necessary.
Yes.
But let's step away from the children for a second. Now, what do you do when you're bogged down with all that stress?
Yeah.
You trying to, make it all work. And, we all know that there's good days and there's bad days.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do to reinvigorate yourself, to get yourself back on track, or to have the quote unquote woo-saw moment? What do you do?
Yeah.
But before you answer, everybody, let's get the pens and pads out again. I think we're gonna need to write this down.
Yeah.
Please.
It was really hard for me when I first started this journey. But now what I do with my staff is that we now have quarterly blackouts, monthly blackouts. We don't do any programming. We don't see any kid. And we strategize. We take that month to meet, to regroup, This coming January, we're going to do a blackout where we're going to go to the spa.
I love
We're
that.
going to do pedicures. We're going to rest. We're still going to meet, of course. We're going to strategize for the spring, and strategize for our fundraisers and other different partnerships that we're going to do this spring. And we just take the time to just be with each other, build our community back up, eat. I love food, and I always love feeding myself, of course, as well as my team. They'll tell you that Ms. Cameron's always going to have some food for us, and just take that month to just regroup, as well as never forgetting the why. Like, yes, we're tired, we're bogged down. Last month or this quarter was a quarter, and this child got on my nerves. Because I mean, let's be transparent.
Yeah,
we have those moments, right?
Yeah.
that's real.
But like, let's not forget our why. Why did we start this in the first place? Specifically for me, why did I start this in the first place? Right? Like, there are kids that need us. There's families that need us. There's communities that don't even know they need us, but they need us. They need our kids, right?
Yeah.
And so I think taking that time to reflect, and resting and getting, the food that you need, the strength and the time to think things through, I think really, really helps reset. So that way you can go even harder that next quarter. So that's something that we've been doing, starting this year. This just happened. This
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. Things some of the best things are born out of necessity.
It's true. And it actually pretty much reminds me that was actually something that I strove to teach my older sons, was that, yeah, it's okay to grind, but you must have an overview day. You have to stop, because you need a time to, if nothing else, not only rest, but assess what is going on, what is happening, what's working, what's not working. There's no point in wasting time repeating the same cycles over and over again and barely moving. So that it definitely reminds me of that. But that's very interesting, because very rarely would you hear of an employer being like, "Well, we're gonna take a month off."
Right.
For real? Really? You kidding me right now, right? You're like, nah, we're gonna go to the spa. We going to the spa?
But more and more employers are seeing the value. I'm hearing more and more that, they may set aside a quiet room, or that an employee can go for a few minutes, or maybe up to 30 minutes just to decompress. Or I've seen where employers have had like a room with a massage chair and a sound machine, or something with ocean waves or something going on. So, I think some employers are, getting the message that, especially in this post, world, people are burnt out and they do need some time, in my previous employment, a lot of times the leaders were talking about debriefing. You need to debrief after a big project. You need to find out what worked, what didn't work, what can we do better next time, how can we do this better, who got on their nerves, that kind of thing, how to deal with these difficult clients or difficult customers, those kind of things. So, definitely having those lessons learned is helpful, but that decompression, that is key.
It's needed. I didn't realize it until this year.
Yeah. Well, maybe things hadn't bubbled to the point where, it was necessary quite yet, because I remember you mentioning to us previously that, you weren't quite expecting this much growth so quickly. So, with growth comes the need for that time.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And I'm so grateful that we're able to be in that position to do that. And I'm able to do that for my staff, even if it is just a couple of hours a week, that we actually meet, but giving them time to just rest.
Yeah.
take care of you, rest.
Right.
Now, if it's not G17 classified, could you give us an idea of how you went about choosing your staff? Because I think that's a very key aspect as well. You got, as we said, you got to have a tribe, but you got to have the right people in the tribe for it to
Yeah,
really work and be successful. Because the worst thing you want is to be going through the things with the children, but then be going through the things with your staff right after the children. So,
right.
was there any special technique or method that you use, or it just kind of worked
It
for
kind
you?
of just worked. It's very
Wow.
interesting. When I started in 2019, it was just me. And then the pandemic happened in 2020, and I was like, let's still just do virtual something and see who signs up. And it was from out of that experience, and I was still at Creative Alliance at that time. And I had met a ton of artists, but one artist in particular who we just worked really well together. Her name is Jasmine Manning, and a talented muralist, artist in general, painter, but also she has experience with working with neurodivergent family members, youth. She did a lot of teaching artist work with Baltimore City Public Schools, so she knows our kids in the city. And so when I brought her on, it was just like heaven sent. It's just like, you get it, you understand. And so she's been with me since 2020. And now she's been promoted to program manager. And so now we're finally growing. And so me and her, we're finding other artists, like-minded artists who have that experience with Baltimore City Public Schools, neurodivergent youth, and then going through interviews that way. I will say this past summer, we had a couple of snags with staff who we thought, would be able to work with our youth, but no, it wasn't a good fit. And so from out of our summer staff, we found who was actually a good fit and then who wasn't. And so we continued with them for now our school year programming. And it has just worked. Like everyone has had experience within Baltimore City Public Schools, neurodivergent youth, ABA programs, ABA therapists. We now have on staff traditional licensed therapists. We now have on staff, and they just get it. They get our kids. They get Baltimore City, because I feel like Baltimore City is just a different beast.
Yes.
We would agree with that.
Yes. Yeah.
Both government wise, administrative wise, family wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're just working with just a different sort of population.
Yes.
Than other places that I've worked in, because I used to work in Anne Arundel County, and I mean, those families totally different than Baltimore City families.
Yes.
So they have that experience, and now that we have this amazing team of, I believe there's 8 of us now, things like more kids are coming, like we're seeing our numbers increase, which has been amazing. But that's been our journey with staffing.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you get that synergy right, though,
Right.
you find that a lot of things tend to fall in place.
Because when you got that right team with you, then when you fall down a little bit, whatever it may happen, somebody picks up the slack and you don't even have to say anything.
Right.
It's like they just pick it up. You okay? All right, she needs to take a time out. All right, well, we got to hold this down for a second. She'll be right back.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's what you need. And I'm just thankful that you are finding those people, because that's very hard. And like you said, in this city, especially, it's hard. Not being disrespectful, but just being honest. It's hard to find people who can be like-minded, but especially who are like-minded and have the same work ethic. That's not that easy to find. Everybody doesn't like to do things because it needs to be done. Some
Mhm.
people only do it for a check. That's it. And
Yep.
you're not getting nothing past that.
Right.
Mhm.
Some people, you're not going to get more than the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes to just keep the job. That's all you're going to get. You're not getting nothing extra unless you're going to be willing to pay for it in some type of way.
Yeah.
So I'm just thankful that you're finding the good staff, and your good staff is working. Like you said, that synergy
Yeah.
is very important.
And I
Very
think
good.
our neurodivergent youth are very sensitive
Yes.
to things like that. So
Yeah.
they can see through a fake.
Yeah,
They
they know
They
who's real.
can see through a phony real fast.
They know who's real.
Yeah.
They know
Mhm.
who's real, and depending on where they are in their development, they're not afraid to tell you.
Exactly.
Right.
And they with no qualms.
No qualms, no filter. They're just gonna straight up tell you exactly how they feel about you and what you are doing.
Yes.
Mhm. That's the truth. That is.
They will tell you about yourself.
No filter.
No
No
filter,
filter.
no extra feelings about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You really get on my nerves.
Mhm.
Okay.
And they won't mean anything negative by it. To them, it's just
No,
a fact.
no.
Right.
You know?
It's just a fact.
It's
Yeah.
just a fact. I'm just telling you how I feel. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not about being mean or even feeling like I'm being mean. I'm just telling you, I don't like you right now.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Our daughter does that all the time. Trust me.
Oh my God.
Even our sons.
This is true.
Yeah,
Oh,
my
wow.
son
This is true.
doesn't. My oldest son does not like it when I wear my hair down. He's like, I
Oh,
don't think I like that. I think you should put it back the way it was.
No, bless his heart.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
And that is absolutely true.
Mhm.
They will pull you aside sometimes and say some things to you that you
Yeah.
don't necessarily want to hear, but they're going to
Yeah.
tell you anyway.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
actually kind of like that though, because they keep it real with you.
They keep
You know
it
where you
real.
stand. You know where
Yeah.
you stand with them, and that's one thing I love. Do you have any new programs or new events that you have coming up that you want to talk to us about?
Yes. So our musical theater experience youth will be performing The Wiz Jr. on December 14th at Creative Alliance at 7, I believe it's 7 o'clock. I'm pretty sure it's 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock or 7:30. So we're looking forward to that. Admission is free. They'll also, like, if you come, you'll also have an opportunity to see our students' artwork, our older students who are in our emerging artist program. They'll have their artwork on the wall that you could purchase. So that should be a great evening of art, community, in holiday season. So we're excited about that. And then we have a Black Comic Art Club that we were going to start this October, but we thought that let's just focus on the programs that we have and getting these shows up. So we're pushing that program to start in February, the first Saturday in February. And so that's a time where students will work with a comic artist to develop their own comic book.
Wow.
And so we'll talk about the history of Black comic art, where it started, where it is now, the influence of it. And then based off of that, the kids are going to create their own story in their own comic book. So
Wow.
I think our son would love that.
yeah, come.
We doing things around here. Okay,
Yes.
I like that. We doing things.
I'm getting
All right.
excited.
Yeah. So that will start in February of 2024.
Great.
Now, to get into your programs, do you offer any type of like scholarship things, or parents just have to find a way to pay for it themselves, or what are we looking at?
Yeah. So we offer scholarships for all of our programs. There's always some sort of fee because we want that buy-in. So are you committed? Are you sure you're committed? So there's always some sort of registration fee of $25 to $50. But all of our links to our registration page, you can fill it out without paying. If you can't, we ask you that question within the registration, or if you need a scholarship. And then based off of that, we'll email you, we'll have you fill out another small form for a scholarship. And then the program will be free of charge. So,
Now, can you repeat that one more time about there needing to be a registration fee? Because what we have found in different arenas, like you said, I don't think we have the real commitment to
mhm,
do but so many things free. I don't think people take it as serious.
curious,
So if you,
right?
I mean, if you could just reiterate that one more time.
Yes, we want you to put skin in the game. There is a registration fee for all of our programs. But of course, if you aren't able to pay that registration fee, it's totally fine. We would just let us know via the actual registration form, which is usually just a Google form and it's easy to access. But there always is a registration fee. We take our programs very seriously. The work that our staff do very seriously. We want to make sure all kids have their supplies beforehand. So all of that goes into that registration fee goes into all of that. So we want to make sure that everybody's good for the start, and we want your commitment because commitment is it's important.
Oh,
So,
yes, yes,
yeah,
yes. You know, you don't want to be turned into the drop off point.
No.
right,
People
that
just drop
part.
their children in a roll.
Right.
You know that's not what you're about, and that
No,
doesn't help your program.
No.
So that's why I asked you to reiterate it because for some reason now, I don't know if it's a council culture or other things, we just have these hangups where it's like if somebody tries to charge you, what you charging me for? I thought you
right.
just love the kids. Well, yeah, but it takes money, number one, to do
Yep.
anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then number two, like you said, we want you to show that you are committed, that
Committed.
Right.
you know you really love what we're doing because we're taking your child and trying to give them the best that we have,
Yes.
and
Right.
we don't want to feel like we're being taken advantage of. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I thank you for reiterating it and even taking time to give us better understanding of
Mm-hmm.
it because that
Yeah.
can get on your nerves.
Yes.
I'm just
And you want people to appreciate your time and effort as well.
absolutely, you know,
You know.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
you love what you do, but it's still your energy, your time, your thought
Mhm.
process, and sometimes you even your upfront money
Mm-hmm.
that you
Right.
put
Right.
into the program. You know what I mean?
Right. Because
So,
it's your
Yeah.
staff. You
right.
didn't say my volunteers. You said my staff. And when
Yeah.
you have a staff expect to be paid and they
Paid.
expect to be paid
Yeah.
on time because they have
Mhm.
bills to pay.
Yeah.
Hello.
So, yes.
Exactly.
Sorry, parents, but we just had to take the time out to make this known. We want everyone to understand this is how this thing works.
Yes.
Nobody wants to feel cheated.
No.
Nobody
Right.
wants to really love the children and put all that time out for the children and then feel like I'm being neglected
Right. Or
Right.
underappreciated.
or underappreciated.
Mhm.
It's like, come on, this thing works both ways.
Always.
We love to give, but we expect you all to give as well. That's just how it works. Laws of reciprocation. That's just how it works.
Yes.
But Miss Cameron,
Yes.
you kind of hit on it already, but I'm going to ask the question anyway.
Okay.
How would you rate your success right now? And what would you need to be able to go further? And don't be
Yeah.
shy. Tell us exactly
Okay.
what you need. Don't hold back. Let us know.
Okay. Okay. So I would rate our success currently 1 out of 10. I would say about an 8. About an 8. And I say that because I know that there is more funding that's out there for us that we just haven't found yet or tapped into yet. And costs are like staff. Staff is our
Right.
biggest line item. And I want to make sure my staff is paid regardless.
Right.
I don't have to be paid. My staff have to be paid. It's their time, it's their energy. They're buying supplies. They're creating wish lists on Amazon and sending it out to family and friends. So I say an 8 because I know that there's more funding out there that we just haven't tapped into or they haven't found us just yet, or contracts with other institutions that we haven't connected with just yet. And so funding has been a challenge for us. It has been a huge challenge. And so I think moving forward as we grow, because our numbers are getting bigger, so we need a lot more people, a lot more staff, is that we need more funding. And I'm very cautious about the families that we serve and making sure that they're not coming out of pocket too much, because they come out of pocket a lot on a regular anyway with children.
Yes.
And so I want to make
some things about therapies. Trust me, trust and believe.
Yeah.
ABA services is not
right.
It's up there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just had to put that out
So
there.
I want to make sure that costs is very minimal. Like I do not want it to be a lot. And I want to make sure that scholarships are in place and we have enough for scholarships for our students to come for free. The end goal is that I don't want our kids to pay for anything. Maybe a registration fee, but I don't want our families and kids to have to pay for anything. I want our funding to be stable enough where our kids are able to come in at little to no cost. And so moving forward, I think, funding is a big part of what we need. And more staff, finding more qualified and competent, empathetic staff to help us continue to grow. I feel like we may be a little bit short-staffed right now because we don't have all of the funds that we need. Yeah, I hope I answered that question. Did I answer that full question?
Oh, I think you answered it very well.
Yeah.
And we would say the same, that that's our biggest problem. It's not that we don't have ideas.
Right.
It's that we just don't have the funding to back the ideas. We need everybody. Let's do like we used to do in the old days. Come on, get them nickels and dollars and $5 together. They don't have to be a whole big chunk of change, but if everybody could give $5 a month, we'd be good.
But especially in these days and times, I mean, I think a lot of people still have some misconceptions about nonprofits. Nonprofits doesn't mean that nobody gets paid. It's still a business. It still has operational costs and overhead costs that need to be covered. And what you're doing costs money. There's supplies involved. There's finding places to hold venues to hold things and what have you. So there's cost involved. And, you also have to be very strategic in the funding that you do find, because you don't want to find funding from an organization that then wants to try to come and take over or make changes to your organization that aren't really for the betterment of the community that you're serving. So you still have to be very strategic, because all money isn't good money.
Absolutely not. A lot of times we as a people, let's just keep it 100, we get used a lot. And a lot of times outside money comes in and just wants to find a way to get into the community, and they like to use nonprofit faces. So they can say, hey, I give to this and I give to that. And then next thing you know, and I know this because one of our sons was telling me about it, as well as I've talked to somebody else who was in a nonprofit where they saw the same thing, where yes, the people would give the money, but then all of a sudden you're watching the executive director be pulled off to all these parties. That's like, where are you going? What are you going to that party for? Well, they said, and you're becoming a representative. You know what I'm saying? And whether though that company you really feel as though you really can give fully, they're gonna call fully. If they what's the saying? Whoever pays the piper calls the tune. I think that's the old way of saying it. But just saying that whoever gives the money can begin to pull the strings and run the situation. So you definitely, we as nonprofits, we definitely got to be careful. But they know that they kind of got us to a degree because of the funding. So I agree with you 100%. That's why I said we need the grassroots. y'all see us out here, if you know what we
Yeah,
doing, pull up, hit that button, that donate button,
that part.
so that we can get done what we want to get done, because it benefits all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Right.
especially in the neurodivergent sector,
Hmm.
like I said, there's so much that needs to be done, but we can't do it just because we have good thoughts.
Right.
Right.
We gotta have
Mhm.
the resources backing it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I ain't mean to be long-winded. Go
No,
ahead.
that's great. Yeah, no, yeah. So,
But
yeah.
you have a deep connection to the arts.
Mhm.
And for what we are hearing, wow, you were just magnificent
Oh,
with
you're
the
sweet.
children. Have you found any neurodivergent children that are really grasping onto the arts? That you definitely. I think you already mentioned one, but
Mhm.
have you run in? Are you seeing that that's a thing, or it can be a thing?
Yes, it's a thing. It is such a thing. I have students who have followed me from the Harbour School now to R.I.S E, who will come from Anne Arundel County. They'll come from PG County,
Wow.
and they come to R.I.S E programming 3 times a week, and they're so committed. They're so committed. They're usually in our older programs, our emerging artist program,
Mm-hmm.
and so one student in particular, uh, I always laugh because he's funny. Anywho, one student in particular, he loves music. Music is like his thing. He's an organist, and that's what he wants to do. He wants to play the organ, he wants to play the piano professionally.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're working with him on his brand. How do you want to brand yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're also working with him. He wants to go to college. We got him into a Morgan State University special program where they helped him with learning how to use a computer, learning how to operate Microsoft Word, things like that. And so that then propelled him to look into Bowie State University and not only look into their music program, but also their engineering program to learn how to use different softwares and things like that. So now he's interested in cybersecurity. And so now he's working with our transition coach to major in both, or possibly do a major in music and a minor in cybersecurity or engineering. So we do have students who are deeply passionate about the arts. But I always tell them, because not to deter them from their dreams of being an artist, but always know that you can do more. You can
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
do so much more.
Yeah.
Art does not have to be the end, right? Because
Right.
I feel like for so long, my parents told me, have a second option, always have a second option. But in college, like, I just wish that I knew about other avenues of theater in performance and
Mm-hmm.
making and finding careers within that. And I didn't until I got to, and I went to a HBCU to start, until I got to a PWI. That was where I saw those other opportunities where I was like, oh, I can have a career in education. And so now
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I have a master's degree in leadership and diverse education. So I always
Right.
tell them to always find other areas. Like, there's so
Right.
much more, like, yes, music, you love to play the organ, you love to play the piano. What are some other areas you can tap in as well? Could you be a music instructor, right?
Right.
Could you create your own? Could you compose your own music and sell it that way? Like,
Right.
there's so many other things that you can do with your music,
Right.
uh, as well as cybersecurity or engineering, things like that. So,
Yes.
yeah, yes, we
Like
do
the
have,
buzzword everybody's saying now, having multiple streams of income,
yeah,
you
Right.
know.
yeah, multiple
Right.
streams of income. So,
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, this is just lovely to hear that the way how you think, you're truly, oh man, what's the word I'm looking for?
A trailblazer.
oh,
Not that.
I think so. I think she's a trailblazer in what she's doing. There's not really, you don't really hear of people doing what she's doing, especially in this community right
mm,
now.
True.
This is truly unique and special. And she has been blessed with this assignment, this divine assignment.
Thank
I
you.
think the word I was looking for is like galvanizer, because
Mm,
you are bringing together so many different angles.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at the children with so many different lenses on. That's what I was
right.
trying to. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to take away from Trailblazer. Let me say that. I
Thank
was
Yeah.
not
you.
trying to take away from that. I wasn't trying to take away from that. But I
Thank
was just
you.
saying, in my mind, I was trying to figure out how do we describe what you do, because it's so multifaceted.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's like almost looking at a child from beginning to end
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
and trying to
mhm.
connect all the dots.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely holistic.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because we heard the art, we heard the entrepreneurship,
Right.
we heard, just being creative, creativity, expanding your horizons,
Absolutely.
what else can you make out of your gift?
Yeah.
Right. You know,
Yeah.
and but still dealing with the situation because it's there, but still helping the child to see I'd still have options.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
My
Yeah,
options aren't this small.
right.
Exactly.
And I
Mm,
think one of the biggest things about this is as parents of neurodivergent children, when we get diagnoses from doctors,
Mm,
we
right.
see those we imagine those options going to practically
Yeah,
nothing,
they go out the window.
but you're helping us to see that that doesn't have to be the case.
No.
they
Mm,
can they can have all types of opportunities
mhm.
that we just couldn't even imagine. Maybe they won't be a neurosurgeon, but
Right.
maybe they weren't meant to be,
Yeah.
regardless of whether or not they were neurodivergent or not. you know Maybe that's just not their path, but you're helping children to find their path in
Mhm.
creative ways and
Right.
nurture their creativity, because so many times, because some neurodivergent children, not all but some, struggle
Yeah.
academically. So
Mm-hmm.
so much focus is placed on the academics that they're not really even allowed to be creative.
Right.
They feel so bogged down with, it takes me so much more effort just to read or just to do
Mhm.
math or science, that they don't even see that there's other things out there to explore.
Right. Right.
And,
Thank
and
you.
and that's the thing that's necessary for all children.
Yes,
Mm,
it is. It
It's
yep.
not
is.
because unfortunately the society that we are brought up in, it kills your imagination because of the fact that as soon as you hit school, it turns into
Academics.
academic. You gotta get a good job. You gotta get a good job, and that's what's drilled into you. But it's not about
Or get into a good college.
or getting to a good college.
Mhm.
People don't really tell you. Well, you can do what you can imagine.
Yep.
There are
Mhm.
different ways to get to different spots. You don't. It's not always straight. You may have to do this or do that, and then you can go over here. That's where you want it to be.
Right.
But we
Right.
get locked into I gotta make money, so I need to be a lawyer or a doctor, and then whoop, box right there. You don't even move past it. Everything
Mhm.
is just I got to go here. I got to play basketball. I got to play football.
Mm,
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
not thinking about, like you said, the diversity even within that, because you
Mm,
got the team owners, the trainers, the
yep.
doctors.
Hmm.
We you we go to a chiropractor who used to be one of the chiropractors for the Baltimore Ravens.
Wow.
He has
Mhm.
his own practice. So I'm just saying, that's why we're so thankful for what you're doing, because you're opening back up that box that
Yes.
got closed,
Yes.
but you're doing it in a way that the children are having fun, but they're really discovering themselves, and God put you there as a mother figure, so you're nurturing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Trying
Hmm.
not to you're trying not to shoot them down, but you're trying not to hype them up either. But you
Yeah.
just helping them to say, look, okay, well, if you want to do this, look, hey, you can do this too.
Hmm.
You can go
Hmm.
over here. Did you
Yep.
know that you could go over here? And they're gonna obviously look at you like, no.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
No, I did not.
Yeah.
yeah.
But then once you open their eyes, it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. I got another skill set too.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how I can use that.
And it's okay to nurture that,
Right.
you know. I
Mhm.
myself, as an example, I started playing the violin at the age of 5. My
Wow.
mother put me in a program, um, playing violin, and I played the violin up until like the 11th grade.
Okay.
So that's a long time.
Yeah.
I also won first place in an art contest in the 4th grade.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
because I was struggling academically, a lot of that creativity kind of went to the wayside so that I could continue to progress through school,
Right.
you know. And I can tell you, in my more than 30-year career with the federal government, not once did I use my trigonometry class or my algebra.
Yeah. Yep.
I did
Mhm.
not use that, not one time. Not one time did someone ask me to dissect a frog.
Right.
you know that never happened, but
Mhm.
yet I had to learn it to get through school.
Right.
Right. Right.
So who knows, I could have been in the BSO or something playing my violin. You just never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I dropped those dreams because I needed to get through school. I needed to graduate. you
Mm-hmm.
know and I did have a fulfilling career, but
Yeah.
it wasn't fun. It was
Right.
hard, but I was doing something that definitely was meaningful and needed. But I say all of that to say it would have been nice to be able to embrace my creative side as well, to be able
Yeah.
to still be able to pick up a violin, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You can still do it. It's not late. It's not too late.
I know.
Mhm.
I just have to find some time if my children would allow me that.
Wow, that's
Open
the
their
biggest
back.
thing
Yeah.
right there. Finding that time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a struggle right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely a struggle. But Miss Cameron,
Mhm.
to bring everything to a close, what would you want the audience to walk away with? Like, what would be the main thing you want them to walk away with, knowing about Rise, or just knowing something in general, something that you're just filled up with that you want to share, that you want them to walk away
Yeah. Oh, I might cry.
with?
'Cause there's so much, and I know families go through so much. Like you said, once you get that diagnosis for your kid,
Yes.
um, but I want folks to walk away with that the diagnosis isn't the end. That's not the end all be all. Your kid is capable of so much more, so much more. And it's going to take time. It's going to be a journey, but know that they're capable of so much. Sky's the limit, beyond the sky, right? Beyond the
Right.
sky.
Yeah.
They're capable of so much. And it's a journey. Take your time, be in it with them, try different things, never let creativity go to the side, continue to work on your creativity. And there are programs out here that nurture that creative side, because we know that our kids are capable of so much despite what a diagnoses may say. Despite that, they're capable of it all, no matter what. So, yeah, before I am in tears, full tears.
That is so wonderful.
Yes, ma'am. And we feel the same way here at MP Fat. One last thing.
Mhm.
We said that, you said that in order to go higher, you need the funding. What is a way that the people can get their money to you? Is there like a website? Is how, they got to come by and drop it off? Just let us know what we need to do to help you to keep pushing to higher heights.
Yes, so you can go to our website, www.riseartcenter.org, and go to the donate tab at the bottom of the page. And you just click that, and it'll take you to our donating platform. And we also are giving away things, giving away some swag gear if you do donate. And we have a couple of events that are going to happen next year, fingers crossed, prayers up, that if you do donate, you will receive all of the information regarding that, as well as discounted prices for all of that. So, yep, just head to our website.
And we'll make sure that we put the information in the description box for the video.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got it. We have to support you because your program is just whew, inspiring, as well as it definitely makes it so that our children can get somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, and understand that they're not at a dead end and they just sit there. No, there's plenty for them to do. And, you know, we're just thankful that God has blessed you to come up with the different ways and to have the right attitude. Because I like the fact that you keep it real.
I do. Got to.
Because you can burn out very quickly if you don't learn how to keep it real with yourself and the situation. I'm sure sometimes you may have to turn some situations away because it's just like, okay, I can't handle that one. That is a little beyond my scope right now. I have to work to get to that part. But we're just so thankful that you're learning to stay inspired. You're learning from everything that's happening to you, but you're not stopping. And obviously, you know, God is doing something because you're expanding like crazy, and you're like, wait a minute, whoa, slow it down, time out.
Take a moment. Everybody calm down. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling myself.
Because people don't understand, you know, when those blessings start coming. Matter of fact, I'll just share this real quick story that my father shared with me. He said that one time he had prayed for something and it started coming so fast, so quick, it scared him. He was scared. It was like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on, slow down. What's going on? I'm not quite sure how to deal with this.
It's like that sometimes.
Yeah. So sometimes we, in addition to praying for things, we also have to pray that our capacity is increased as well.
Right. And I know it's hard because judging by the type of heart and mind that you have, you're just looking at there's so much that needs to be done. And so sometimes it's hard to find that balance because it's like you just want to keep moving because it just has to keep expanding. But then it's like we don't want you to, you know, fall out in the street somewhere or from exhaustion. You know, we don't want that to happen to you. But again, I'm excited about R.I.S.E.
Yeah.
Now that we've heard so much about it, I'm really excited. Once we can figure out how to work with the COVID thing, because that's one of our main concerns right now. We definitely want to try to figure out how to get our children into it because I'm pretty sure they would love it.
No, we will be working with you and our children in the future. Putting that out there.
Okay. Putting it out in the universe.
So we're excited to be working with you and our children in the future.
Yes. I receive it. I receive it all. I receive your babies. So
we can't wait to see what they come up with.
I know. I'm excited.
Yes.
All your stories, your
especially
home
McKeel.
stories.
Who knows what he'll start writing and drawing about once he actually gets a taste of the real deal, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh, this is going to be good. It's going
to be quite interesting. Quite interesting.
Yeah.
But does anybody have anything else to say? Any other things that you want to put out there?
I see us doing this again.
I do.
You know, and getting updates on all of her new programs and everything that she's going to be doing, and you know, from all the great funding that she's going to be receiving, and you know, just give us a heads up before they interview you on Good Morning America.
I will. Y'all are coming with me. I'm bringing everybody, the whole team. One band, one sound. So,
because I see some great things for you.
Oh, definitely. I think God is going to put some things in your way because you got the right heart, the right mind, the right work ethic, and you love the kids. You love the kids.
I do.
Because you love the kids.
And any way that we can help support that, or, put the message out there, just let us know. We belong to a lot of parent groups. So any way we can like get the message out there, even to homeschooling families, because we homeschool. So we also belong to some homeschooling groups. So, and they're always looking for ways to add a arts piece to their curriculum, because there just isn't a whole lot out there. So
ooh, that could be fun.
Yeah.
So we're definitely gonna put you out there. We're gonna put you out there.
Okay.
You ask for it.
I'm ready.
You got this.
You got it. Because like I said, God is already showing you He's taking care of you, because He's constantly putting people around you and letting you sift through. But the team that you have, it seems to be synergetic. So
yeah,
I think you'd be okay. I think you'll be okay. So with that, we'll bring the interview to a close, as we always do, by saying peace.
Peace.
Peace, everybody. We thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. And we thank you for tuning in and giving us your time and energy for changing life on the spectrum. If you would like to leave us an email because there's something you want to see on the show, or any information that you may need or want to request, go to changinglifeonthespectrum@gmail.com and just drop us an email. And if you want to support the show, we ask you to support the nonprofit that brings you the show, which is McKeel's Path for Artistic Triumph, by going to www.mpfat.org and hitting that donate button, so that we can continue to help our families dealing with autism, and we can continue to help them by changing life on the spectrum. Thank you.